Hello and welcome to the Depot Show, a series of videos where I talk you through articles released on the official World of Tanks website. I'm your host, Ixter101. Before we start, a quick disclaimer to remind you that this isn't an official World of Tanks series, this is merely my own personal content. With that being said, let us begin. From September 26th to October 10th, we're going to be seeing the return of the Waffentrager Legacy game mode. This is a 6 vs 1 game mode where players get to play against the Blitztrager Auf E110, a variation of the Waffentrager Auf E100 that you may remember from ye old days. Game mode lore and storytelling aside, what do you actually need to know about this game mode though? It's another game mode with a curfew that takes place at midnight Central European Standard Time. That's UTC +2 for us Brits. However, it does have a few key differences from the last Waffentrager event. Firstly, players will have unlimited respawns. This means that if you get killed several times, you won't be completely out of the fight. However, keep in mind, the more often you die, the longer it will take to load back into the battle. Furthermore, Harrier vehicles moving at 50 km an hour or higher while carrying plasma will see the countdown timer for the plasma decay slow down. This means you'll have more time to work with while moving at fast speeds. Wargaming are also claiming that the game mode will be more linear and understandable for players, meaning you'll always be aware of what rewards are available to you and how far you've got in your progression and how far you are from the next stage. Speaking of stages, the event will have 20 stages in total in terms of progression, so make sure you grind up all those tokens. The tanks available to the Harrier squad consist of the usual 3 suspects: the Thunderbolt, which is essentially an M48 pattern, the Resistor, which I believe is a T62A if I'm not mistaken, and the Fodor, a name I probably just butchered once again, which is essentially a Batchat 25T. All of these vehicles will have more or less the same perks and abilities that they would have had last year as far as I am aware. However, it looks like Wargaming are up to some funky business when it comes to the gates and keys you can earn for playing the game mode. It looks like with the reward system in place now, players will actually be able to get a rental Waffentrager Auf E100 for random battles. Allegedly, there'll be a certain drop percentage of getting this vehicle, so don't expect to see too many or don't get your hopes up for getting one yourself. However, keep in mind that it's not completely off the table. You can get this rental vehicle by opening the engineering gate, which requires engineering starters, something you can collect by playing the game mode. The official stream on the World of Tanks channel on Friday showed an employee playing the Waffentrager during random battles. Now, while the employee didn't do great and only performed with an average of 2.7k DPG throughout the session, it does look like the tank has been heavily power crept and is underwhelming compared to what most players would expect. And it's definitely prone to being bullied by HE rounds, especially if it gets caught out on its own. That being said, if you sit back towards the red line and you have support from your teammates, it's not going to be a complete bust and you will still get some interesting clips in, which is bound to lead to some enjoyment and fun. If you do find yourself going into random battles between tier 8 to tier 10 during the span of this event, make sure you add a few extra HE rounds to your tanks just in case you come across the Waffle. The Waffentrager, however, does still pack a punch with its 5-shot clip with 2 seconds intra-clip between each shell, so don't underestimate its capabilities and don't overestimate your own, because it will punish you heavily for your mistakes. The general consensus is, if you're playing anywhere except the red line, expect to be heavily punished. This doesn't, however, mean that it's impossible to perform well in this tank, and players who excel will probably be able to get some decent stats out of it. That being said, what do I think about the reintroduction of this tank in random battles, even if it is for a brief rental period? Personally, I'm not a huge fan. Many players assumed that the tank would be coming back as an auction vehicle, much like the Object 780 and a few other vehicles we've seen in the past, such as this player on the forums who stated, possible sell into the game, 40,000 plus gold, 60,000 plus bonds, 100 million credits, However, looks like we're relatively fortunate. It's only coming back as a rental for now as far as we, the player base, are aware. Completing missions in the game mode will provide players with tokens. These tokens can then be used to progress through the 20 stages within the game mode. Each stage provides rewards such as bonds, customization, and a few other things such as engineering starters or Harrier starters. Well, what do the Engineer and Harrier starters do? Well, they allow you to open the Harrier and Engineer's gate, which provides you with the chance of getting the rental Waffentrager Auf E100, as well as a few premium vehicles, namely the KV-4 KTTS, a Russian tank destroyer at tier 8, which has been in the game file for ages, and by ages I really do mean a solid while. It looks like it's finally arriving to the live servers. Accompanying it, the Chieftain prototype, a tank which I'm hoping holds up to the Chieftain name. However, that remains to be seen when it actually gets released and when we actually start seeing it in random battles. Nonetheless, regardless if it performs well or poorly, I look forward to seeing this new British Tier 9 heavy premium tank. There is actually a collection of several other premium tanks that will be available for collection, but keep in mind there's only a 2.4% chance of these dropping in your gates, and I believe it's only the engineer gate that it opens in. However, I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. Now, are these rewards worth the grinding or the money that you'd have to invest to get them? I don't know. That's a decision you'll have to make personally as an individual player, and only you can decide if it's going to be worth your time or your resources and money. Now, speaking about the game mode, something else you might notice is there's also the Blitztrager Auf E220, which is essentially the E110, but with a special customization, i.e. camouflage. Only CCs and employees will have access to the E220s on certain days at certain times. So if a team manages to destroy one of these tanks, they'll be rewarded with a special medal and an engineer's starter. Personally, I'm looking forward to playing the E220 and the E110. And if you manage to come across me on the enemy team, be sure to say hello after the game, and I wish you the best of luck. All in all, there seems to be a good collection of rewards available for players, and it's a game mode that players definitely enjoy every time it comes back. So if you plan on giving this event a try, be sure to check out the articles I linked down in the descriptions below for a full in-depth breakdown of all the rewards available, as well as for any other extra information you may need about the game mode. I'll also leave a link in the description to the original teaser article for the game mode in case you're interested in reading up on the lore or storyline behind the actual event. Oh hey, you're still here. Well, if you're looking for more content, here's a quick reminder that I stream on Twitch as well as post on Twitter and other social media platforms. I'll leave the link down below in the description. That being said, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment and let me know what you think down below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future content.